Let's go, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. It is September 9th, 2025, and this is episode 97. As always, I am your host, Ty Dobberton, along with my co-host, Derek Kwan.
What is up, everyone?
Sorry for the slightly late start today. I have been having some hot water heater issues today, and I've been doing a lot of research and talking to a lot of folks and seeing a lot of plumbers, and it turns out one of the guys earlier was trying to blow up my garage. He turned off the hot water, or turned off the water to the heater when he was checking stuff out and forgot to turn it on. It just kind of dawned on me that might be a bad thing because I don't think anything else got turned off. So I was dealing with that right at the last second. Right when you have a deadline coming up, all these ideas pop into your head, don't blow up the house, check on the baby, all these kind of things, who knows. So apologies guys. So it is dead in the middle of the Commerce Hold'em series. We actually have Derek going out to play one days. That's how big this series is. We've got him in the streets doing one days. And for those of you who aren't as excited, we've got other stuff going on too. We got in our own little home game, we got some side action going. For those of you that don't know or hadn't been invited, Frank's got a little home game where he mostly runs mixed game events for us who don't know how to play mixed games, to do some little low stakes, quick events to try and learn some. But we actually did a little heads up tournament this last month, and we have. Well, I got some complaints and gripes about the last round about that coming up, but we had a fun little stream about that. That's on the channel. The semifinals and the finals matches are on our channel, so go ahead and check that out if you want to see what's up with that. Derek talking his way through as much of that as we can. We'll bring up a clip or two from that in a little bit, and we finally got our hands on some Commerce Hold'em series results. We have results up through event 7. I don't believe anything has hit Hendon Mob yet, just like I don't believe anything from the end of the bike series has hit Hendon Mob yet. When they do, we will get that all updated in the Player of the Year race. But I do have the Big Poker October events in the Player of the Year spreadsheet. So if you are watching that and you want to know what events are going to count, you can probably guess by now if you've been following along, but those are in the spreadsheet as well. So go check that out. And then, of course, as most of you and probably all of you who are listening to this know, we announced last time we are coming close to the end of our run as your weekly update to the LA poker scene, at least in podcast form. The social medias will be going on, but for those of you who don't know, at the end of the month, at the end of the Commerce series, with episode 100, that will be the final, for now, the final episode of this podcast as far as the weekly variant goes. There may be special events popping up from time to time, but we're going to slow it down and stop with the weekly coverage, unfortunately, because, well, life and things and busy. But we appreciate everybody who has been with us up until now. We've still got a couple weeks left, so, let's jump in, give everyone their props, and let's see if we can't have a little fun in LA before then. All right. So let's start with results, shall we? We just have the one big result from over at the bike, so that seems like as good a place as any to start. So last week when we were talking, I believe they're at the final 2 tables of the Mega Millions. Well, they completed, they finished things up, and I believe that night, in fact, they finished. I think they decided to chop instead of going to day 4. So, yep, here is number 1 field reporter giving the info there. So when they got to the final 5 players on that night, they just decided to chop instead of coming back the next day. So congratulations to Yushin Chen, who takes home $210,000 for that first place in the chop. Second place in the chop, Hui Lam. Third place, Amit Shah. Fourth place, Avedis Hakimian, the cook. And fifth place, Dylan Najor. Congratulations to everyone in the top 5 there for a massive, massive score. Huge chop. You got to love seeing those plaques. I got to get me one of those plaques in a tournament. I've never had a plaque. I've had the, what even colors are those? The strawberries behind there. But I don't know if they didn't have the plaques at the time, but the couple deep runs I've made there at the bike never broke the plaques out.
Yeah, I made a bunch of final tables and deep runs in a bunch of the megas, and I actually don't think I've ever touched the plaque either.
Yeah, all right. So that's, small step. Step 1, get the plaque. Step 2, get the banner. Same day, hopefully. So congrats to the rest of the final table. So in 6th place at that final table was Chad Lipton. Seventh place, Jeff Crucier. Eighth place, Riemann Gokani. And ninth place, Chanun Zheng. So congrats to that whole final table. Other notable high finishes, Nicholas Grippo in 11th, Kenneth Kim in 14th, Evan Sandberg in 16th, Paul Wynn 18th, Phil Locke 19th, Robert Natividad 20th, Adam Swan 21st. That's two second place bracelet winners, I believe, right there, back to back. And by bracelet winners, I mean second place finishers, of course. Andy Stack Sai got 22nd. I don't think he usually makes such a deep run in our Mega Millions. He plays so few of them, so that's cool. Andy Stacks in the event. And William Shirev, who just took down one of the Quantums the week before, I believe, taking home 23rd. Yep, lots of other regs in the field there as well. Jared Greiner cashing, Edward Pack cashing. All of the, a lot of the regular customers in the field. So congrats to everyone there. Frank has a picture for this one. This is not the first event we have results for the Commerce Hold'em series, but let's go with the picture. Congratulations to our star, Beth Hall. She took down the seniors event on Tuesday, and I believe there was a chop. How many? Or was there a chop? Beth doesn't like to chop. Maybe there wasn't. Let's see. Beth win, blah, blah, blah. Oh, actually, I don't think there was. I think she played all the way out. So congrats. Beth took first place out of 110 players in this thing and will get herself 20 player of the series points. That is right. The Commerce Hold'em series, we mentioned this before, they are doing a player of the series race. All of the events except for the main event and the 1K, I don't remember if it's an 8 max or a 6 max on the last day though, are only worth 20% of the points that those two events are worth. So she got 20 points for getting first place in this. The winner of the main event will likely get like 160, 170. And the winner of that one-day event will likely get, I don't know, 80 or 70 or something probably. So those are the ones to focus on if you want to win that player of the series. The player of the series comes with the prize is a package to the November circuit event that's worth around $4,000, and that money is added by Commerce. It's not coming out of the prize pool, so that's pretty cool. You'll become an honorary Commerce Pro. You'll get that package and some swag, some of the stuff you've seen our number one field reporter in Commerce Pro, Frank the Tank, wearing when he's at Commerce and playing around. So that's what you will get for winning that player of the series. So congrats to Beth and other people. Well, I will read these results with the names when we get to those because I have them all. So let's just hop right over to that. So getting to more results, we had the Commerce Hold'em series. They have results up through event 7 posted. So we'll run through the final tables here. Event 1 was the Labor Day special, and that was on that Monday. It had 465 entries for $153,000 prize pool. That ended in, I believe, a four-way chop. I believe it was a four-way chop, maybe 5. I think 4. Actually, it looks like 6, doesn't it? Jump from 4 to 9,000. So, so there's a chop. I think looking at the payouts here, it's looking like probably is. It was a big chop. It was late at night. So congratulations, final table. We have Jean Ren getting first place for nearly $30,000. Grant McGahee second place. Jan Linkovsky for third. Evan Muschetto for fourth. He was in the chat telling us about this chop, which is why I thought it was 4. Kevin Babian fifth. That is a pretty good. That would explain why he has so many player of the series points. I think he had a very good finish in another one. Farzin Akhtar in 6th. Mark Robinson in 7th. Jose Torres in 8th. And Dhruv Yadav in 9th. So congratulations to that final table. And that was the big kickoff event. And let's see. Event number 2 was the $20,000 guarantee with knockout bounties. This was on Tuesday. They had 112 entries here. Oh, now we've got pictures. Congratulations to Jafir Oranji. He got first place and about $6,000 for his efforts, probably including the bounties. Second place was Elshin Eliev. Third place, Arthur Simonian. Fourth place, Paul Chu. Fifth place, Julian Lopez. Sixth place, Austin Blair. Seventh, Francisco Linares. Eighth, Robbie Kelterer. Ninth, Mike Kim. And to round out the cashers, 10th was Gevorg Arzumian, and 11th was Heap Trin. So congrats to everyone in that event. Event 3, which was the $150 No Limit Hold'em with knockout bounties as well. That was also, I guess, just a double bounty day on September 2nd. This had 102 entries, and the winner here was Huyen Win. I'm assuming the same Huyen Win we just read about in the top of the Mega Millions. So he goes from chopping up the Mega Millions for, let's see, what was that? You gotta love the game here. 204th. No wait, that's Huey Lamb. That's different? I'm wrong. All right,
Yeah.
never mind. I just saw the Huey. All right, so that's not the same guy. So congrats, Huey Win, getting first place in this for a little over $2,000. Second place, Stephen Reed. Third place, Bill Liu. Fourth place, Trinitra. Is that? No, I don't think that's Trey. Trinitra Avery. Might be Trey. Fifth place, Oleg Bakyov. Sixth place, David Rich. Seventh place, Nathi. They're really cutting people's names off, except for not their last names. Nathi Theratanakal. Eighth place, Eddie Hyun. And ninth place, Khalid Elsif. So congrats to that final table. Let's see here.
Is that a smaller trophy?
Wow. Well, unless it's Photoshop, that sure is. If you look at, where's the one? Beth's trophy looked way bigger than that, didn't it?
Yeah, my trophy definitely.
Yeah, our trophies are bigger. Beth's trophy's larger there, and it looks like if that is the real trophy, that's very small. So we'll have to see what the other pictures look like. Let me see. No, that's a regular size trophy. I don't know why his looks so small.
Maybe just because it's zoomed out or something.
I don't think so, because it's in his hand. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Let's see. Event 4, Beth.
Yeah, because the way he's holding it feels like it's small, but it's about the size of his head, and this one maybe is, and
I don't know. It looks
that
really
one looks bigger. So I wonder if it's like
the night events might have smaller trophies. That one looks smaller again. See, yeah, the night events. I think the night events might be smaller.
So I was actually going to actually ask you, what do you feel about like a 10 to 12K prize pool getting a trophy?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it sounds elitist, but there should be some.
There should be a distinction, right? No, for sure.
The next one looks small too. So
yep. So Beth got a big code trophy, and the night one got a small one.
I guess maybe that is the distinction. Is maybe anything below a $200 buy-in has the smaller one.
Maybe 250, 150, yeah, 360, 150. Yeah. Maybe that's it. Maybe the 150s get the small trophies. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I think there should be a little differentiation too. Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
So here we are at the seniors that Beth won. Second place, congrats. Oh, it does look like the chop. Second place, withheld, so clearly not interested in the fame. Third place, Chris Roulier. Fourth place, Paul Liu. Fifth place, Kwok Lee. Sixth place, Thuy Win. Seventh place, Sirius Bagchasari. Eighth place, Franklin. Number one field reporter, final tables. Ninth place, Troy Gabaldon. 10th place, Rick Barraza. And 11th, Michael Barnaba. And 12th place, Hambone Jeremy Hamey. So congrats to everyone. Oh, I see. They chopped and then played for an extra 1K and the trophy. Oh, nice. They have a little context at the bottom of these pictures. So yeah, Hui Win was he won in a 3-way chop. Great. You know why they're doing that? Because when they chop, the player of the year points or the player of the series points are different for them. So that's probably why they're mentioning that.
Oh.
Yep.
Wait, what happens?
So for the Commerce player of the series, for the Hold'em series, they're doing kind of a split the difference where if 4 people chop, then third and fourth both get third or fourth place points, and then first and second both get the same points that are, I don't know if it's first or second points they get, but something like that.
Why was it 3 people chop?
They just break them into 2 groups, I think. And if 3 people chop, I don't know. I feel like if 3 people chop first, just gets first place. I have no idea. I'd have to ask.
I wonder if 3 gets 3 and 1 and 2 split, or 1 gets 1 and 2 and 3 split.
Would definitely be worth asking in the main event if it mattered, if it matters. So. That night event here, the $150 No Limit Hold'em nightcap. 76 players. Congratulations to Henry Dugan. Oh, Henry Dugan.
Yeah, good job, Henry.
Yeah, he helps out a lot and does stuff with the stream, with the Bally stream. So
yeah, Live at Commerce.
Yep.
Bally's live.
So congrats, Henry. He gets himself a little trophy. Looks like it was a 3-way chop between Henry, Larry Tran, and Javier Rivera. Also cashing Charles Chaverdians, Huyen Win again, Bo Moneymaker, Robert Adato, Eduardo Mannon, and Marcia Stone. So congrats to all of you. That's event 5. Event 6, we have Wilfredo Osorto taking down the trophy in a final, 2 players chopping it up. So I guess if 2 people chop, it should just be first and second place points. Does that sound right? We'll have to ask Kevin if it were relevant.
I'm assuming they just sum the points together and just split it in two or
Yeah,
something.
but unless there's a special exception, I remember reading they split them into 2 groups though. So if there's only 2, it should be first and second, you'd think. So this was a $250 deep stack. This was on September 4th. Prize pool $24,600. I think this is Thursday because, yeah, 50K was the guarantee for Friday. So congrats to Wilfredo. And then he chopped almost even money with Fenit Polavith. Congrats to you two. 3rd place, Jin Woo Kim. 4th place, Kevin Babian, getting those points. 5th place, Cam Chan. 6th place, Ahmad Haverty. 7th place, Lilia Murcia. 8th place, Wen Yi. 9th place, Oleg Baykov. So congrats to that final table. And then
I have no shot. I have no shot at this player of the series. I've played like 2 tournaments so far.
It's incredibly easy. All you have to do to win player of the series is win the main event, and then make sure nobody else at the final table with you has any points yet. Like if they're not like already high in the point listing, you're fine.
I guess if you ship like 2 of the big ones, then
all you have to do is ship the main event and then have like any points. As long as the person who wasn't leading the player race already didn't get 2nd or 3rd, you're gonna win. It's like you've got 90% of the way there.
I feel it's too overweighted, but sure.
I don't know. Well, we'll see how it is when the main event actually pops up. But like getting 5 times as many points for probably the biggest event on the schedule seems just really busted. Trophy. And look, it's got a blue writing on it. I think that's different too. 150 nightcap. This thing had 62 players, and the winner was John Golgrieve. It looks like there was a 3-way chop at the end with Ami Lemani and Tal Glickman. So congrats to those 3 for the chop. We see Bo Moneymaker in there again, Nestor Hernandez, Andrew Banoob, and Dejan Petrovic. So Bo Moneymaker picking up some points here. I've read his name a few times.
Yeah.
So
I like that the yellow and the light, the baby blue chipset. I feel like they only really use that for like the nightlies and stuff like that, but I think they do pull those out in the 1K for the World Series. I remember using that chipset for the 1K.
Yeah,
which was nice. I think it was because it was running at the same time.
If we're talking chipsets, this is probably one of the worst ones. It's got to be the oldest one, right? The grays and the weird colored, like the messy oranges, and then
maybe I haven't handled them. I don't know.
These grays here, I'm not a fan. I think those are the old ones. But then these ones you talk about are the good ones, or like this set here he's got. Or I don't think the baby blues are in any of these pictures, are they?
No, the one that it looked like. I'm a little bit colorblind, but the one that Jack won.
John here or Jack?
No, the very last one you just did.
Yeah, that was John Gogrieve.
John.
I don't see blue in that. I think that's lavender and orange.
Lavender.
Yeah, it's the same as this set here, I think. So I don't think they busted the blues out for any of these pictures. The blues are a pretty early chip, though, so they probably wouldn't be around by the end of the tournament.
I'm just talking about those chips because those look baby blue to me.
Oh.
I guess lavender and baby blue is kind of close. I don't know.
I mean, they're both light color. They do have a blue chip in an earlier denomination, though, for sure, in one of these sets. And I think it is one of the... It might be that set.
It looks like Frank is confirming that the nightly are smaller trophies, so our eyes do not deceive us.
Nice. Okay.
Anthony Potesta is saying no trophy shaming.
No, it's cool. No shame. A trophy's a trophy, but I mean, I do think that a trophy you should be able to tell certain things from the trophy. Like you won the main event, you won the player of the series, you won, one of the multi-days, you won.
Yeah, I had like a 15 to 20% problem with trophies being handed out for $150 nightly.
Yeah.
But I think a smaller trophy is nice. It's celebratory, great. Give them something to win.
So I like the places that give out like coins and stuff for all of the they have 100 tournaments a year. Like those get coins. You have the big ones. Now you get a big trophy. Like I think that's cool.
You know what? Mini trophy's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's still. I prefer it smaller. If I play so much in events where you're gonna win a lot of trophies, like having too many is a problem. People talk about like the guys who play the mixed events. They're like, man, you get like 6 Remingtons. You just put them in the lawn. You give them to your mother-in-law. You give them you're like, what do you do with 6, 7, 8 Remingtons? Like they're huge, right?
So like with a no limit hold'em tournament player, it's hard to get those trophies.
Yeah, if you're playing the bigger events for sure. But like Sean, you as the one of a kind white Remington, that is awesome, right?
Yeah, those are good times.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. All right. So those are all of the results we have from kind of official events going on. Like I kind of mentioned, we had a sort of a fun little unofficial event going on the last month and capping off last night in a very short finals match between Fausto and Beth Hall in our heads up match. We can go. I'll show you the clip of one of their I'll show you the entirety of one of their matches in a second. But first, I just have to say, you should all get coaching from Fausto because he will teach you how to be the luckiest heads-up player in the world.
Here we go.
This man, so freaking lucky when it counts. He'll complain, he'll be down, but every time the chips go all in, he will find himself way behind. He will win, and this is how he did it on his way up. I'm talking to you, Fausto. This is how he did it when there were 16 left. Suddenly there are 8 of us. This is how he did it against me. Derek here was doing the commentary. He was doing a good job trying to keep up. But the other thing is funny. I feel like you not watching my table was very bad luck because you managed to miss every single all in that happened. Like you would turn every time you watched a table, the other table would be all in, and you turn around and be like, "What happened there?" Suddenly, someone doubled. It's like, you missed the exciting hand every time.
Intently, you were running.
Exactly.
You were running super hot when I was watching, but then when I stopped watching, that's when you.
Yeah, and as soon as you took your eyes away, this happens. Like this is the hand. In our first match, we were playing best of 3. I had Fausto all the way down to 700 chips, and then I lost 3-4 hands in a row to get him back to here. But that's fine. This was the plan. If I got ahead, was to just stay, keep him low so that we could get into a situation.
Round of these, I'll have some background music.
We're the table on the left, by the way, in case you got.
Looks like Beth betting half pot on 8-4 ace deuce.
And listen to Derek commentating on the right table.
Frank just has that raise button. And
there was a whole big situation going on over there,
or he doesn't, which makes him such a good poker player. Yeah. Usually when he flashed the cards, they went a little bit too fast, but feels like when he does it,
hands over.
So I think, but unfortunately, I don't think it's having
Derek
the
still
effect that he
hasn't
wants it
noticed.
to because it's just going too fast to be able to see. And Beth doesn't realize that Frank's probably bluffing her. Wow, what happened here? Fausto back up to 36.
What happened? Jeez, I don't know.
So funny.
Yeah. And then he makes the comeback. He spikes some stuff. Like I get ace king, he busts it. He gets ace king. We both flop top pair, and then he beats my ace high with his king high pre-flop. No big deal. Then second game also runs like fire. Check raises me with the 7 high straight draw flush gutter and the flush draw. Spikes the sneaky gut shot offsuit card to get me out of that one, but that's not even like I'm not even the person he got the luckiest against in this thing. Let me see if I can find. I'm gonna bring up the match. It's hard to find because it's a quick one. I'm gonna bring up the match between him and Beth, and by that the first game between him and Beth. I want to say no, it can't be that one. It can't be that one. That must be the second match, right? How long did it take to get? It had yeah. Here you go. So Beth beat Frank, and I it's got to be this, right?
In round 2. Looks like we are starting, so let's get over.
So this is the first game of the best of 3 finals between Beth and Fausto.
Where are we? Beth versus Fausto. Here we go.
First hand.
We got
300 big blinds deep, aren't we?
A board of 7 of clubs, 6 clubs, 3 spades, queen of hearts with Fausto on the button.
Or was it 166? Actually, I think it's 166 big blinds deep to start.
So Fausto goes for 2x pot, putting Beth in the blender early, and Beth goes for the raise. Maybe we're going to end round 1.
Yeah, I didn't add a lot
earlier
than
we thought. What is happening here? This is hand number 1, and Fausto rips snap call, queen 7 against a straight. And we
look at this guy. Not only does first hand of this tournament, of their match. Not only does he rip the straight, but his opponent flops top pair with a good kicker and turns top 2 pair. I mean, come on, this is rigged. This is rigged. What the heck? So, anyways, congratulations, Fausto. He won our first little heads up tournament there. Lucky. I don't know. If he can coach you into winning, into hitting hands like that, then you should definitely take it. There's no wonder his students have been doing fairly well. But But yeah, no, I really needed you to sweat that hand for me because you were watching. No, I had a couple fun bluffs in there. I did rip a couple decently fun bluffs where it's fun. I had you on in my ear off to the side, and trying to play and hear him, and I'm trying to. You're like a quarter of a hand behind,
Yeah.
And it's just really funny. Like you'd be like, oh yeah, all right. Ty probably had the three kings there, something like, bro. I had 7 high. You're killing me. It would have been fun.
Too bad that I couldn't see whole cards.
Yep.
But yeah, it was actually kind of fun trying to guess, what they were. But I mean, for a couple of those bluffs, we kind of put them all in when there wasn't much left behind, and if those were bluffs, that was like pretty gangster to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I did it once or twice, but you can't do it that many times because if you didn't knock him out, then he suddenly, like you said, he's suddenly from 700 to 1800 because it's just the blinds were what they were, right? But yeah, no, that was fun, super fun. Thanks, Frank, for organizing that. Thanks everybody for getting in there. Everybody but Fausto for getting lucky with that. We should have went to a game 3. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, keep an eye out. We might do fun stuff like that again in the future. Maybe if we did it, we'll try and organize it a little earlier. Try and get, could potentially share. Maybe we could share like my cards with Derek, or Derek could share his cards with me, and then we could post on a delay in that way or something, and then we could have a little more to talk about, something like that. We might be able to do something like that. So hey, everyone, get over there, take a look at that if you liked it. If you thought that was kind of fun, let us know. We'll try and do more stuff like that for kind of those drop-in moments, because like I said, we're going to stop this weekly podcast, but we're not going to stop playing poker, right? We're not going to stop thinking about poker, and I'm not going to stop talking, so we'll definitely have chances for some more content here and there, just not so consistently and not so grindy.
Yeah.
All right. So that was kind of a fun thing we were doing here. As I mentioned, we had been getting Derek out in the streets, though. These commerce events, we haven't been grinding them the way we grind some of the other ones. For baby reasons, Derek, because he doesn't like one days, but he did go out there. And, I convinced you a little bit because, A, there wasn't much else to play, and B, those extra 500 levels and those extra 5 minutes of blind time after reg ends, I feel like you can really feel them in these one days. Like maybe I'm being happy, being starved for so long, getting a little bit, just I'm overreacting because maybe these are still quote unquote turbo bad structures. I think they're decent, but it just feels really nice. What did you think of the structures this weekend?
The structures were good. I would say they were good. They probably weren't like amazing, but for a daily, I think they were very, very good. Like I just haven't played enough dailies. I don't recall there being a daily with such good structures that I played in. But still, if I had to categorize it, it was turbo-y. Also, if I had to categorize it, it was the same. I don't, just because the structure is better doesn't change the way the players play.
Of course not.
And
but that's part of the edge, right? If you figure out the way you're supposed to change and no one else does, technically that should give you a bigger edge than you would normally have, right?
Well,
technically.
I mean, they kind of nullify that by just raising too big pre and then just overbetting when they shouldn't be overbetting, and all of a sudden you find yourself at like a 1-on-1 SPR in a turn when you were like 50 big.
Wait a second, raising too big and overbetting was the adjustments I was making. I got this backwards.
But yeah, yeah, if you're a daily fan and you want to be a little bit, better structures, I think the ones in commerce right now are pretty good. And Cabin has basically said that these are going to be the structures for the rest of the series, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it does throw people off a little bit. We're used to 50K starting stacks. Suddenly super turbo after the break, which I think those bigger bets early and really more aggressive build that big stack early. I think that's a better strategy in those events. This is a slightly, this is a little bit better structure, a little bit smoother structure, a little longer, and you start with fewer chips. So I feel like this structure lends itself a lot more to that grinding it out, staying at the chip average, winning modest pots to stay at the chip average or to keep your big blind level up, right? To stay up with the pack. And it's not safer, but like a better strategy than trying to get that big buffer because we're all swinging hard, right? But to your point, if everyone's still swinging hard, it is tough to make that adjustment. But that just means if you do get to build that big stack, you're in an even better position than you are in those other events if you are able to catch some folks and build that big stack. So it's yeah. So this weekend I only went and played the Saturday one. Hey, you should bring the cat to the casino. I've seen a couple cats there. Is little hairless Egyptian things? Is that what they are? These little people
I
bringing
saw a
cats.
picture of it. I can't imagine having a cat for a tournament. I mean, a cat just will not sit still for that long. That's crazy.
I don't know, man. This cat was fairly chill, but did stuff it into a bag every now and then. I think they had a little pet carrier. But yeah, I only went on Saturday, and last week on Labor Day, I got a little something going. I got to get moving a bit, and I had like that big bad beat near the end that really threw me off. But this week, I don't know, I just didn't really get anything going. Didn't have much in the cards, didn't have much bad luck, so it's kind of disappointing. Kind of just like dragged it out. But I will say both weeks I could feel being tired. This last week, I definitely wasn't looking to be as creative or to. I definitely was when I was going card dead and everything was kind of like blah. I could, in hindsight, and a little bit in the moment, I felt like, I am tired, so I'm not really thinking of ways out of it. I'm just kind of waiting for the cards to turn. So it's definitely not optimal to play on baby rest, but it is still good to get out there, and my cards were really crappy. So yeah, Jeremy says no cats. I was kidding, Jeremy. We don't want to bring pets. We don't want to subject them to a poker day. How was your day? I believe you told the story when you did you tell the story of your min cash, or was that last week?
Well, the min cash happened this Saturday.
Oh, so you haven't. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
how did your week go, Derek?
Yeah. For the Saturday day one, I actually only fired one bullet, and I was able to accumulate a really good stack. Then a player decided to check raise me on a 9-high board with like 9-8, and I had pocket kings, and I was like, I know what's going to happen here, and I just rip it. This was already kind of mid stage of the tournament, and I had a pretty good stack. I don't know if it was like top 10, but maybe top 20-ish, top 20, 25 stack. Yeah, so 2-pair or trips around the river. I don't remember what it was, but some sort of stuck out in the river. Ended up losing half my stack there, and then I just couldn't get anything going after that. Had played really well up to that point, and then just sort of went card dead. Here's the funny thing is we get down to the money bubble, and it's 10% pay. So just note that it is pretty tough to cash these things when you're going 10% on a daily. I was on the button with like 2.5 bigs, and I was like, oh, fine, this is great. I got a full orbit here. No antes or anything like that, so I should probably safely make it into money. I just got to sit and be patient. So I sit, and then there were 4 all-ins across, maybe like the first 6 hands or so, and all 4 of them won. It was incredible. Then all of a sudden, it was one more hand to my big blind, and the blinds had gone up. So I have 1.8 BBs. On the very next hand, I'm all in. I just have the 1 BB for my BB, and then 0.8 for the ante. And then all of a sudden, there's a commotion in the other table, and then somebody apparently ripped like 7 bigs from the big blind with like queen 8 against a raise or something like that. I don't do that. And ended up busting out of the tournament and ended up min cashing, which was crazy. On the very next hand, I got dealt ace 3, somebody raised under the gun with ace queen. I peeled ace first, and I was like, let's see what the other card is. It's a 3, and I ended up busting. But I was happy to escape with the $400 or whatever I got out of it.
Yeah, we've got the video of Derek putting his last 2 big blinds in the pot and somehow min cashing.
Good job, Frank. Good job, Frank, capturing the moment. Yeah, so that was my Saturday. I mean, it was very, very tilting. The kings and 9-8 hand, and then everything after that happened was also pretty tilting. Then Sunday was an extremely tilting day with the 100K bounty. I ended up firing 3 bullets to that one, and I was playing like mega aggressive on the first 2 to basically build a stack, to get more chips for the bounty. I decided after the first 2 bullets on my 3rd bullet, I was like, this is the final one, so I'm just going to play sort of solid on here. And I did pretty good. I ran the stack up. I caught a couple of bluffs here and there. And, as happens, I kind of went really card dead when we got down to about like 70 people, but it was only like 40 or something like that cashed. A couple of bad hands here and there happened. I think one hand that was like really interesting as I raised king 7 suited under the gun. A very short stack ripped, what it was like maybe 8 bigs from under the gun plus 2. Obviously, I'm not going to go anywhere. Actually, no, it was even less than that. It was like maybe 4 or 5 bigs. So I'm obviously not going to fold to that. It folds all the way to the big blind, and this guy flats, knowing that I can re-raise. But my first instinct was just to shove. It was just a shove. And then I thought about it for a second. I decided not to, and I think this is kind of what too late in a tournament is that my instincts get a little bit clouded and I'm a little bit tired. And typically, it's obviously a very unconventional play, but I think King 7 suited is a good enough hand that blocks, some of the bigger kings and ace king type of flats that he might be doing. And then I could just get some dead money in there and just go heads up instead of going three-way trying to win a pot. So I ended up just flatting. So long story short, he called with 9-7 offsuit. Like, this is what I mean by these players. Like, what do you do there when a player in the big blind decides he's going to call 9-7 offsuit against another player who has a similar stack, both like kind of deep for that point in the tournament?
And it wasn't. There were no bounties.
No bounties, right? There's no bounties for the money. It's like, what do you do against people like this? You know what I mean? Like, you think it's easy to play against them, but it's just so impossible to read ranges after the flop. I ended up running 4-liner 2 straight where I had the sevens, 5, 7, 8, and I had it, and I rivered, and basically I think it rivered the 8. So I was like, awesome, I have a straight, and then all of a sudden he leads into me, and I was like, what the hell? So I decided just to call and not raise, and he ended up having 9-7. So he basically outstraighted me with 9-7 offsuit. I ended up losing way bigger of a pot than I should have there. And then after that, I ended up just busting. Very, very just frustrating day overall. But actually, I think after that tournament, I was like, you know what? I think that's the last deal I'm going to play. I don't even care how good the structure is. I'm not a daily player, so I can't do it.
All right. Well, I don't want to, I don't want to alarm you, but the 400, it's a 400 this weekend, right?
Yep.
I don't know if I would expect a whole lot of different play on day one. I don't know.
Well, you know what? Having it split into 2 days, like that actually really matters in terms of like the structure and how things go. So like, yes, like I just think that even with how good Kevin made the structures on the deals at the Commerce, it's not slow enough, right, to be able to compensate for some of the other stuff that's going on.
Yeah. All right. No, that's fair. Now, with that, the way that these events are going, that Labor Day tournament started at 10 a.m., finished up around 12:30. The Saturday one started at like 11. I want to say it was a similar time frame, probably finished around 1:30. So, I mean, we're talking like, roughly 13, maybe with no chops, 13, 14-hour tournaments for one day. I mean, I don't know how much better you can do, really, in my mind, because I feel like that's a good length to get the thing over with. So, I'm sure there'll still be some tweaks, but I like the overall length. I think it's. I'm gonna keep playing them. I like these one days. I don't get quite as frustrated, especially if it's early on getting these beats, as you do. At least not yet. So we'll see. I think they got a good audience. Now, that being said, I've been a little surprised that they haven't been like smashing and doubling these guarantees, right? They've been 1.5ing the guarantees. They've been getting to 150K like every time, right? But the bike runs a 200K guarantee one day, and they hit it. I think the buy-in's a little bit bigger on those, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's 600 or anything, but I think it might be a touch bigger. Or is it 400 and their 100Ks are 360 or something like that? But I'm surprised. I was expecting last week's Saturday one to be bigger than the Labor Day one, honestly. So I don't know. With you mentioning kind of how Kevin is making some changes, right? There's making the structures a little better, starting to put his kind of his fingerprints on the Commerce tournaments. I kind of wanted to talk about where do we think he's going with that, sort of, and where do you think how do you think that compares with what the bike is doing, right? Like, what we kind of have Kevin and we kind of have Jeff, and like, what do you think their visions are for their tournament series and their tournaments period, right? Like, who do you think they're building their series for, right? Like, is there a vision in there?
I mean, I think they're both. I probably talk more with Jeff on like those type of long-term, short-term strategy. We bounce around all these ideas around like, running some sort of colossus, right? To get like that long tail of players in. What can we actually fit in the room? And he's always asking questions around like doing this for quantum. What do you think about this size double bag? What do you think about trying this instead? So there's a lot of talking with Jeff, and I might probably do a little bit less with Kevin, although I'm sure Kevin would have those conversations with me if I asked. But Jeff does like approach me with some of those questions.
But I still feel like they're both after the same thing, which is
Yeah.
just trying to grow. Well, okay, how about this? I think that both TDs understand the point of good, healthy growth is like player growth, entry growth, not re-entry growth, right? Like there's rake growth and then there's player growth. Those are actually kind of two different things. I think that they both do everything they can about rake growth because there's an incredible pressure from both card rooms, right, to basically make more money off of poker. So I think that's what they're both after in terms of who they're targeting.
Yeah, do you think
I
they
don't know.
are kind of targeting the same segment of the player base, or do you think they're both
I
trying to
think
hit
I think so.
everything? Or
It's really just, I mean, it's really kind of like small mid, right? It's just small mid. Like that's who they're targeting. You usually, you toss like a 1K in there kind of towards the middle, but 1K I would still say is like a mid stakes type of thing, right? But that's sort of like the high rollers that we have in LA.
yeah,
But that really is the same segment. It's just small and mid.
yeah, I feel like traditionally, right? And I never got to play tournament poker around here back when Legends was a WPT and LAPC was the biggest series outside of the World Series in the country, right? I only
Yep.
started playing tournament poker around here after, really right around COVID when things started slowing down, getting smaller, right? So
Yep.
for my view, it feels like the commerce is always sort of catered more towards the smaller side, right? So like where you're saying mid, right? I would say in my view, commerce kind of is always kind of targeted. We're going to do more events, but we're going to cater more to the even lower, so like the lower to mid. Whereas bike is more like we'd prefer to skew high. What we'd like to do is go as high as we can, but we'll still throw a bone to the mid and lower, right? So we'd like to be high with our Mega Millions, with our Quantums, because we do have a $3,500 buy-in tournament, right? We do have $1,400 buy-in tournaments, two of them every series. We do try and have the biggest guarantees in town, right? So I feel like the bike is trying. They would really like to be the biggest and the highest end, so to speak,
It's
right?
interesting because I don't really look at those quantums as a 1,400 or 3,500 buy-in. I just think about the day one buy-in. Like that's what I think they
And
are.
that's well, see, that's what they want you to think, right? That's what they would love. But I mean, it's hard to when I look at these stats from before, though, right? You look at the pay structures or whatnot. They get so for the mini Mega Millions 8, they had 400 day two buy-ins, $1,400 buy-ins, right? That's like 500K. That's what the guarantee is for these 1100s. So that's just like
Yeah.
another 1100, 1200. For the Mega Millions, they have nearly 200 $3,500 buy-ins, right? Like, so you're getting around 180, 100, and it's really consistent. Actually, I'm looking at just some of doing a little search on their blog,
Mhm.
across these past. It's very, very. It's like within 20, 25 entries of 400 for that 1,400 point,
Mhm.
and then it looks like it's. Hold on, let me look at one more data point or two, because that was 181, 183, mini, mega, 163. So it's like within, 179. It's like within 10, really, or within 15 entries, for the mega at that 3,500 or 30. Oh, that was even 3,200. So 32 to 3,500 range, right?
Mhm.
So it's pretty consistent in that, and that will get you to. I think that gets you to around 400 to 500K in the prize pool as well, just from the day two buy-ins. So like that's
Yeah.
not insignificant. It's not the whole thing. Now for the mini, it's about half the prize pool guarantee, right? For the mega,
Yeah,
it's
but
it's
I think if
significantly
you're just trying to
less.
compare, I mean, if you're trying to compare, I guess like entry points, I still consider those quantums like the day one buy-ins, even though there's two different day one buy-ins. It's impossible to really
Or
classify a
three.
quantum.
Sometimes there's three, aren't there?
You don't have it for the POI, but it's like the majority of the entries come from those smaller ones, and it's just like a weird hack that they just decided to give you, where you have like a weird direct day two buy-in that has like a bigger price point. I just don't consider that like really what the price point of the tournament was. Like if you force me to pick one of those as like what is the actual entry point for this tournament, I would say it's like that bigger one that goes twice a day, right? The one that has like the 15% or whatever that make it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a real big success on their part, because I mean, I still consider it in my mind. I still consider all those day ones as weird, strange satellites.
They're SATs. It's like a weird
It's a
SATI, like
weird
or
satellites.
feeder,
So
right?
like,
It's like
right.
a feeder into like a
Yeah. And to that point, the Commerce, when they run their 1K and their whatever in the LAPC, that is one of their, like, Commerce really only runs one or like two, maybe three $1 million guarantee tournaments a year, whereas the bike runs two every series. So they run like what, 8 a year roughly.
Yeah.
But the way they get it in there is typically for the Commerce 1K and whatnot, that they'll put like 50 to 80 people in through cash game promotions, right? And then for this series, what they're doing, what I like a lot, is they're running a lot of satellites into the main event. It looked like on the schedule they're guaranteeing probably 50 seats in satellites to the game. Maybe I'm a little high, but I just know there's a 10 packages given out that first weekend, 10
Are you talking
packages
about
again
you're talking about this
for the
series or
Hold'em
the
series.
W?
Yeah. No, the Hold'em series.
Oh wow.
Because there were 10 packages guaranteed that opening satellite, 10 packages this last weekend, and then the weeks leading up, they're going to run satellites every night, with some of them have guaranteed packages, guaranteed seats in it, right? So like, I am curious what would happen if someone was able to market to people like they're running, if Commerce said, I'm running a 1.5 or a $2 million, I'm running a $1.5 million guaranteed tournament with a $2,500 buy-in. I'm going to run satellites all month for it. That is it. And you know what? We're doing a double bag bonus because LA likes it. I'm just going to run satellites for 3 weeks for this $1.5 million guarantee, and it's $2,500. I wonder if that would work, right? I wonder if you could do that. Would the city be okay with that? And obviously, you wouldn't have to do it for 3 weeks. I mean, they run the satellites here for 2 weeks, right? But it's interesting because they just compress it into a week of nonstop satellites. So you end up with, 15, 25 satellites, whereas like a place like these state championships, right? Like a place like Firekeepers that gets $2 million in their prize pool, they'll run satellites for months, but they're not running 3 a day. I don't think they're running 3 or 4 a day. They run them for months though, and they run other promos. And like Arizona State Championships, they're running satellites to get into this event for a long time. So there's a lot of people that satellite in. I'm just curious if these events could work more traditionally, and I think they could if you marketed it right, if you positioned it the right way.
I always say it's like a big risk for them too, because it's just they have this formula, and that formula is the quantums, and they are able to do 1 million, 1.5 million, $2 million guarantees every single series. And they
don't do 2 million guarantees, but yeah, I'm not saying the bike needs to. I'm saying if someone else wanted to run
they had
one,
the 2 million for the mega for a couple of times. I guess they
peeled that back.
this time, because they cut a week out of it, maybe that's why they made it 1.5. Right. So I don't remember the last time they had a 2 million, but basically though, it is a risk for them to be able to just try to change it and go to something a little bit more traditional. Do it. I think you're probably right. If they just do a ton of satellites into it, that probably gets them there anyway, without all the crazy, fluff of what happens with the quantum. But going back to the price point comparison, it's still, I don't know. I'm still not convinced that like the real price point is 3,500. The real price point is like 1,400. Even
no, it's still a little less than that because you're getting paid out as you bag.
I get what you're saying about it, but really like the day one buy-ins. When you look across the board, I think the real difference between the Commerce and the bike are the guarantees, because the Commerce and the bike both have somewhere around like a $400 ish 1 day tournament. Then they'll have something in a $400 range, about something in the middle. Then they'll have a 1K, and they'll have a main event that might be up around like whatever that is, like a 100 or something like that, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you just look at that 400-ish one, right? So if you just look at
the guarantees of the Commerce are just lower.
Well, but look, the $400, yeah. So it is in this series. The $400 event for the Commerce one is $300K guarantee, whereas the $400 tournament at the bike is a $400K guarantee, right?
Yep.
Now that being said, there are let me count the number of flights, right? There's 1, 2, 3. There's only up to D flights, right? There's only 4 flights for the Commerce one, whereas for the bike one, I mean, they're squeezing F number of flights, and not only F number of flights, but 2 a day, whereas Commerce is not doing 2 a day. Flight 1A is 1, right? Just that one. So, whereas the bike is running 2 a day, right? So they're running literally, they're adding 100K to the guarantee, but they're running 3 times as many flights, right?
So I guess that the Commerce, then their strategy seems to be filling in the early and midweek with just more small little things.
Right. So they are not as. So the bike seems to be more about going all in on their huge multi-day, and by huge I mean many, like long. By huge
Yeah.
I mean many flights, very long
Yeah.
events. And I don't mind as a weekend warrior player because it does make the prize pool bigger. I just ignore all the weekday flights.
Yeah.
If I were a everyday player, I mean that's obviously why they need to do their double bag bonuses, right? Because if I have no other events to play, I need to give you a reason to play. But if I were an everyday player, personally, I feel like I would prefer Commerce's strategy of running one day
Well,
events and then leading
yeah.
into the weekend event.
But I think we talked about this before too. Like having the bigger prize pools, the bigger guarantees, the bigger first place prize, it's like that dream. That's why people like come. So I think from a behavioral psychology sort of perspective, it just does feel like the commerce is just smaller, right? Everything is just feels smaller. Their multi-days are smaller
Yeah,
because they're running less. They're purposely running like 1 days on all those days instead of running more, feeders into that weekend event. But then it ends up depressing the prize pool, and maybe this is that probably has an effect of people like, well, okay, there's a 300K guarantee $400 tournament at the Commerce, but this other daily over here that I play, maybe I'll just go to that instead. But oh, the bike has a 400K, and last time they had 600,000 prize pool, so I'm gonna play that instead, right? So I think there's like a factor there, but then maybe back to your point, you're probably right that now that I kind of think about it and mull it over in my head, Commerce maybe psychologically just feels like a lower something, right?
yeah, it's because of the lower guarantees, like you're saying. And it's because of well, I mean, it's because of the lower guarantees, right? And it's hard to tell if it's a self-fulfilling prophecy or if it's simply just because that's not, I don't know if it's a restriction or if that's just kind of like the limit of the traditional way of doing things, right? Like I personally like I it makes me sad to see that because look, you made the guarantee 400K, you made the guarantee 30% larger, 33% larger. But you
Hmm.
you literally you have 12 flights as opposed to 4 flights,
Right.
right? So it's kind of like we talked before. It's like you're just taking the law of diminishing returns and you're just smashing it, and you're just and it's like you
Well,
get that extra number, that extra 400 100K, and it's just like, my goodness, like it just
what
feels like
what
you're burning something out.
what do you think is going to what do you think this 300K is going to get?
I don't know.
Four, three,
It'll be
three.
interesting to see next week, but
I think that they won't break 400, right? But so when even though the bike puts a 400K out there, it's 650.
okay,
That's what
but
that's
let's say
ends up
it's
being.
400 for this one and it's 650 for that. They still had 12 flights as opposed to 4, which is just the weird thing, right? So it's like
Yeah, it doesn't like scale like perfectly to you know,
it's
but
not like it
I
became a
think.
$1 million tournament instead of
Right.
that,
But
right?
I think the excessive number of flights is never meant to like map exactly that way. It's just more to it's like an inefficient way of just trying to get
Right. No,
right. It's
that
just
and
like
that's what I mean at as well. Like I understand. I like I said, it's diminishing returns, and for me that's frustrating. But I understand it gets you what you want is a larger number than the commerce. But to me, it makes me sad because I feel like this is how we get to where we're at, where it's like, God, I don't want to play 3 weeks of Mega Millions flights. How annoying. This is how we end up where we are because we're like, oh, but it's the bigger number. It's like, but look at what you're sacrificing. You're sacrificing
yeah, but the
12
400.
times 12 time slots to play events and flights when you could.
Yeah, but I mean, like the 400. Oh, I guess there was a double bag bonus. I guess
There's
there
a
is
double
like
bag
a little
bonus.
bit
Yep.
of. Yeah, yeah, sure, true, true. But I mean, generally though, like with those tournaments, if you don't want to sit there grinding 2 weeks, you can just be like, well, I'm just gonna fire the one, and I'm just gonna forget the 10% of what was the double bag bonuses, and I'm just gonna play the bigger prize pool, right? I get to play for, instead of 650, like 640 or 620, right? That's still a huge prize pool for me for a $400 buy-in. But I think this is what people will come out for, right?
Yeah.
Is for a $600,000 like prize pool. They will, but 300K, we might skip it. So, and I also do think that the commerce and bike are, maybe reasonably allergic to going a little bit too high and having to fork over overlay.
Yeah. No one
Again,
wants to. Yeah. No place wants to hit
you you
overlay.
and I you and I talked about this before. Like it hurts your own growth.
Yeah.
But then we're also not the one writing the checks and telling them to put in more money or something like that. But if you want to ever get $2 million prize pools again in LA, you have to go higher and be okay eating some here and there.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody wants to hit overlay. But so the other thing though that the other thing I do kind of want to point out, and let's see, 1A, B, C, D, yeah, is that for the Commerce, the hold on, I just want to verify before I say this. The structure for these, right, is that day 2, 3, is that they're day ones for this 400, right? One of them's a night flight, which is turbo at 25-minute levels or something, shorter levels. But all of the ones that start earlier in the day, those are 30-minute levels all the way through, right? No big deal. Oh shoot, they don't have the structures yet. Let me go to this past one. I'm sure it'll be the same. So Legends of Poker 400, right? You know the 400 structure for the day 1A of that. 400K, there you go. That had one of those ones where you start at a certain time, 25-minute levels until you get done with registration, then 30 minutes, right? So, and aside from that, I didn't take the time to compare the structure, but this does, this structure for the 300K guarantee, right? For this, they do have those 500 levels in there that are a part of the 1 days, right? So it's a decent level, whereas the Legends of Poker does not have the 500. So, they have so many more flights because they're going to end faster. They're faster. They're more turbo. So it's kind of like the other thing that I see in what Kevin does that I like is like, I feel like, and I feel like DJ was leaning this way a little bit as well, but not quite as, maybe he didn't quite execute it the same way or wasn't quite as sharp about it structure wise. It feels like Kevin's trying to make a more poker player friendly event as opposed to gambler friendly. I don't know how friendly for the weekend players, right? It's it feels like a more poker experience, right? Like, so that's kind of that's the other thing I kind of feel like is different between like Kevin and what the bike's doing, is that Kevin's trying to make what we poker players say.
He's kind of doing he's doing what we've been asking.
Exactly.
We've been asking,
right? Like,
for traditional stuff. Yeah.
So he's kind of putting out what poker players say they want, right? Whereas the bike is doing what like a gambler will show that they want with.
I think at the end of the day,
their behavior, right?
At the end of the day, it's going to be big number as a guarantee, big number as a prize pool, big number as a first place prize. That's what people come out for. Like that's it. Like full stop. Right?
Well,
you can do all the other
Kevin
things.
knows how to make a big first place prize, so. There's that.
He does.
He can have a bigger first place prize. His if this tournament has a 400K prize pool, it still might have a bigger first place prize than the other one with a 600K prize pool. There's a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I guess the physics aren't quite there to be able to just do a $400 400K tournament in LA, at least right now, right? With the way that this is on the schedule right now. But like this is the whole point, is that we are extremely untapped, in my opinion, in the LA ecosystem, right? There's so many people that we can get out to come play these and they just won't. We got to do something to go get them. And if we just keep doing this forever, we're never going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And, part of why we talk out here, right? Part of why we do the show is like we want people to know, hey, it really looks like Kevin is doing exactly what we all say. Like, hey, we want better structures. We don't want them to be so turbo-y later. We don't want them to be so fast. So, hey, get out there and support it heavily. Don't go over to the bike where it's like, hey, let's flip coins and you can flip 3 a day and it's going to cost you the same amount like per shot. Let's go. You'll get in on one of those flips because that's how flips work. Let's go. Let's gamble. Big numbers. Someone's going to win. All right. It's like, that's fine. That's what casinos are. But like we've been saying we want better structures. We've been saying we want more focused weekend stuff. We've been saying we don't want possibility, more incentive for collusion. We don't want these big double bag bonuses, which is what the long double bag bonus things kind of invite, right? So I don't know. I would like to see, get out there and support this, but I also would like to see someone try to do something more like a big satellite fest, or even if all they did just like they ran twice a year some massive guaranteed tournament, but for the other 6 months they were running satellites, like the weekly tournaments you win, kind of like the bike does, where during the middle of the satellite, hey, you won one of our tournaments, you have to play the Mega Millions, right? Like just like, hey, you're playing our dailies, if you win a daily, you win also a ticket to this event or this event, you're in. Make you play this event.
That's what we need to do.
Just
we
put
need
everyone
to
in with a free bullet.
A 1K $1 million main event at the Commerce at the end of every series, and just run a shit ton of satellites to get in there.
Yeah, and if you do that, and word gets out, these are good tournaments. We'll start getting people traveling in from at least Vegas for them again, right?
Yeah, if you basically put $1 million on a 1K, people in Vegas will come.
Yeah,
right. Christina Gons Insta will be here for sure, and so will Elvis, right? And there will be other players here as well. You just have to like buffer it around, like run a little bit of a high roller, halfway, on the day 2 or something like that, right? Of the main, but you know, um, I mean, I think you're kind of right. I don't think about it anymore because I just kind of go through the motions playing these quantums. But really, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to ignore everything that happened across all those day ones, all the double bag bonuses that happened, all the payouts that happened, and I'm almost just like waiting for the reg period to end on now day 2B. I have to go through like 2 day 2s on day 2B. After the registration ends, that's when the real tournament starts, right? So everything that happened, I got thrown away before that.
Yeah.
Now I actually just get to go play poker, and hopefully I've made it here with decent enough stack, and I just have to like just forget about all the lost equity that I had not doing, like 100 flights or something. But you're right. Like I think maybe I just kind of forgive some of that these days, just kind of go with whatever's happening at the bike. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, because you're absolutely right. It's the biggest number. That is the thing that matters the most. But it's just like what we have to sacrifice to get there is just
Yeah.
it hurts.
But again, to your point, I think if you just did run a $1 million 1K at the Commerce, and just ran a whole bunch of satellites to make sure that you get there, I think that's a completely feasible tournament,
Yep.
right? I just don't think that the Commerce has the risk, the appetite risk for that type of thing. But I think it's completely doable.
Yeah, no, and I really like what Commerce does a lot of the time, and I wish they would do it more. Is just they put so many of their cash players into these events. That first circuit event they did in May with the big guarantee, they put a ton of cash players into that event. They had a promo, a massive
like,
cash promo, game pro,
and it was like wall to wall cash gameplay. What was the bad thing about like do it every single time? You were getting so much
do it
rake
every
in cash.
time.
Yeah, they were getting so much rake in cash, and then you were
Uh-huh.
also piling people in a tournament.
Yep.
Like, why are you not doing that every single series?
Like they should be putting like upwards of 100 people into all of the big events through satellites, through their promos, through their everythings, right? Like just start the tournament with 100 people.
Like, why aren't they doing that? They figured it out. Like the thing that we've been asking for: traditional tournament, big prize pool, $1 million guarantee. Like you figure it out. Why are you just not?
Yeah, I think they have to a point. Like I said, I think in this schedule, I feel like there's a lot more main event and main event related satellites than typical. And I think that my guess would be that the coordination to get the cash game promo to line up with your tournaments takes a lot larger casino-wide coordination, and hopefully we'll see more of that going on. But yeah, I don't know why they couldn't just make the coordination be for every series or for every other, at least twice a year or something. Just put in 100 people, like, All right. Well, that was fun. Let's hit the roundup.
Let's go.
I didn't scroll up fast enough to get to the top. I was looking at the structures. All right, so obviously the big thing going on right now is the Commerce Hold'em series. Luckily for Derek and his new old boycott of 1 days, this week is the start of the multi-day. That $300K guarantee $400 tournament that we've been talking about. We think it'll probably hit $400K. Probably pretty safely. I would love to see it balloon past that, but I think that's a pretty good target. I think 400 is probably about where it can get. Maybe like 420 because it's funny. And those flights start on Thursday. So on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. there will be a flight into that. On Friday at 10:30 a.m. there will be a flight into that, and then on Saturday there will be on Friday there will be 2 flights. They're actually having a turbo flight on Friday at 4 p.m. as well, and those are 25-minute levels, I think. Let me see here. This says turbo. What does that mean? Turbo. It just says turbo. Oh, they changed turbo brakes ever for 813. I do like that they're changing the brakes for turbos. That was something that always annoyed me, is when they like chop out a lot of minutes of a thing and they just use the exact same structure with the exact same yeah, that's annoying. So it says turbo. I'm not seeing the levels for turbo. Come on, turbo. There, 25 for first 8 minutes, for first 8 levels, and then 20 for the remainder of the day. That's the turbo. So instead of, you get 30 minutes every level if you play the afternoon flight. And if you play that turbo, the flights are 25 minutes for the first 8 levels, and then 20 minutes after that. So until Reg is over, it'll be 25 minutes. After that 20. So that's just.
I'm very surprised that there's not a turbo flight for Saturday night. It's not.
Yeah, Kevin or the Commerce always does that. They seem to want to rest their staff or rest the players or get the administration of getting the players seated. And I don't know. They almost never run a flight right before. Yep. So let's see, and you can best stack forward. You're qualified. You get a min. So double bagging this just gets you a min day 2 payout. No double bag bonus, just a min cash. Now min cash will be $800, but at least $800 rather, because that is Cabin does. So yeah, that is what we're at. And you know what? That turbo session, as I was pointing out, that turbo session is exactly the same for the first 8 levels as the big 4 ones now. Remember, there was a big change. It used to be, I think, we were happy that they went to 30-minute levels in the after Reg ended for these day ones, which was a big, nice change, because before it was like the other way, and they sped you up. They used to speed you up when Reg opened. Okay, so those would be the day 1 flights for the, did they have a name for it? Nope, for the 300K. Tomorrow, Wednesday, they have a No Limit Hold'em Monster Stack that has a 30K guarantee. That is a $360 buy-in starting at 10:30. Monster Stack, I'm assuming, means 40 or 50K in your starting stack, and it's going to be a super nice structure because it should be that same structure they're using for pretty much everything else. So, if you got time, go down and play.
You're not going to trick me, Ty.
I don't know. Maybe I should go bring up the structure. What if you had that structure and you started with 50,000 chips? What if?
It's a 1 day. It is a 1 day. It's on the ban list.
But imagine, like if you started with 50,000 chips and you had a 500 level and you had a 2,500 level and you had a 25,000 level, and it's always 30 minutes. Like, imagine how much play you'd have. Imagine how much play you'd have when your opponent jams 50K in level 2 on you through that.
Some sort of trick there. The trick is that somebody's going to call with 9-7 offsuit when they shouldn't, and just cooler me somehow for piles.
Yeah, and there's going to be multiple all-ins pre-flop by level 3, so it's all good. It's all good.
This is true. Yeah, this is true. So somebody's going to raise, like 400, and somebody's going to jam like 50K.
And then they will proudly flip over Ace King and say, "I had it, man." Yeah.
What do you want me to do with this hand? What do you want me to do with jacks?
I won't be there, so I won't be the one doing it. Yep. So that's going to be a fun one, man. That structure, that many chips, definitely special. That would be a fun one to play if I weren't so tired. Definitely come well rested, man. I might want to late reg that, honestly, if I were going to play. So yep, that's going on all this weekend, with Sunday being the day 2, and then also on Sunday, for those that don't play day 2 or that bust early, there is a 50K guarantee XL bounty happening at noon. That is a $400 buy-in. So that is what's going on at the Commerce Hold'em series. So
Jeremy is mentioning that the free roll sub for the cash game promo this series. So there's Oh no, but the free roll was the
free rolls with tournaments though. The cash game promos, I don't know what they had for cash game promos.
No, but with the free roll loyalty tournament though?
The free roll, you got into the free roll by playing the dailies on the weekends. Or on the weekdays, just playing daily tournaments. So you got that was 24 seats or something, 21 seats. So yeah, Jeremy, that was separate though. That's a promo they did within the tournaments, which is cool because they didn't usually do daily tournament promos, or they were doing player of the month, I think, for a little while too. But the cash game's totally different. That was just cash game hours, grind those cash game hours.
Yeah, but you're just playing that to get into a free roll tournament. But what we're talking about is that run wall-to-wall cash games to get people into an event.
Right, yeah. The cash game promo could just be play 100 hours, get a seat into the 1K. Or get a seat into the 500 or whatever, I
remember when you first started doing that, you were like, I'm at like 4 hours.
Oh, it was so stupid.
God, you're so far away.
I didn't even win. I'm glad I didn't, but I didn't even get into the stupid Commerce Pro team. I didn't realize you had to sign papers. I thought they just brought you in and took pictures of you. Yeah, so that is what's going on over there at the Commerce. Heading across town, speaking of a casino trying to carve out its own little niche here, Lucky Lady. So once again, they have a series starting, I believe, next week, or is it 2 weeks from now? Thursday, September 18th. So today's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So next week on Thursday, they'll be starting their fall kickoff series. So we'll be back to talk about that next week. And in the meantime, just their regular weekly tournaments. So this weekend, you've got those. They have those later start times trying to catch people who busted the other events, want to stop on by. Friday, 6 p.m., Saturday, 3 p.m., Sunday, 3 p.m., 10K guarantees, $150 or $200 buy-ins. Get in there.
Lucky Lady, if you want me to come and verify whether or not your casino really exists, find the 1 days on the tournament schedules for the Commerce and the Bike, and then day on those weekends, I will come and I will vlog, and I will promote your Imaginary Casino on Twitter. If you can run a multi-day event, I will be there, 100%.
Okay, well, keep that in mind because I'm just gonna look over here at their fall kickoff multi-day event. Their 100K guarantee. The day 2 is here on 9/28. So let's see what's happening over
9/28.
Yeah, let's see what's happening over here on the 28th here.
Oh,
I think that's the main
the
event actually.
That's the main event.
Yeah, so nope, they
Move
didn't do
move
it.
that back. Why would you do it on the main event weekend? Move it back to the one
Well,
day.
because this is a very different demographic. Look, their multi-day tournament's $235 buy-in, $235 buy-in. So
I don't care. I don't care how low it is. If it's multi-day, I'm there. I'm gonna skip I am boycotting all one days. If you
heard
want me
him,
to come
Vince. You heard him. Now the thing is, they won't let you record there probably because DGAF's got all that going on. But if you can get them to let you record,
all right.
Yeah. But hey, Vince, if you want him to vlog it,
in the parking lot.
let him know.
Actually, you know what? I'm buddies with DGAF. I can ask him.
There you go. Yeah.
He'll give me a media pass.
Yeah, there you go. He could hook you up for sure, because he runs his cash game stream there.
Yeah, me and DGAF actually used to play a lot of cash games together. He was very active on the 2+2 forums, and he had some of the best posts. Like if you ever look up it's like literally his handle was DGAF.
Oh.
He had some of the best threads, and his like the way that he was thinking
His
about the game was
storyteller, right?
So not only that, but the way he was just playing was just crazy. It was so aggressive.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then some of the spots he would get into were so funny. But yeah, he's a legend, man.
Interesting. Yeah, I knew about those forums, but I was not a regular back then. I was too busy reading all the Magic strategy and doing all that back then. So heading over to Hollywood Park, their weekend Friday, normal 20K TGIF bounty builder thing. Saturday afternoon tournament is on, the bankroll builder, but Saturday evening there's nothing because Chris Brown will be at SoFi. I didn't know Chris Brown still was a thing. Sunday as well.
A big hit like recently or something.
I don't know. Sunday night also Chris Brown, so no Sunday night tournament, but the Sunday and Saturday afternoon ones that start at 10 a.m. those are on. So there you go for Hollywood Park. Just looking forward on their schedule. Their next big event will be on the 27th, that same main event weekend. That will be a 50K Saturday special right before the Rams game on Sunday. All right, and then as usual, I believe the Garden's still running their normal 1 days down there. All right, so that does it for us this week. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to me rant about the lucky Fausto who's in the chat trying to troll me, but I was too busy. I was on another topic already. I didn't even see it. Yeah, so I think I'm going to need to earn some money for this new water heater that I'm going to need. I think I'm going to need to get a couple new plumbing things, unfortunately. So I may have to show up this weekend. Might have to make sure I get in there. Good timing too. I think I got some family coming into town. I have some help with the baby. I might be able to get away. So I think you're going to see me down at the Commerce this weekend.
Yeah, you know what? If you are going to be playing as infrequently as you are and you still want to have some shot at the POI, you should probably then just try to focus your time on these bigger ones.
Yeah, for sure. So there you have it. I will see you this weekend, I think. Derek is going to be there because he needs to play before he takes his week off before the main comes. Yep. What about satellites? Will you play satellites for the main? Because they have those.
Maybe I'll find. There's some sort of landmark one. Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
I think they're landmarks. I would have to check. I think they're probably landmark. I don't know if he was able to bring the mystery bounty over, but they were already doing landmarks at Commerce, and Kevin likes those. So I have to think.
I think I still have literally never played a landmark satellite. So I want.
Yeah, you should get in on that, man. You should definitely, because next weekend will all be 1 days again. But on both of those 1 days, there's 5 main event seat guaranteed satellites happening at 4 o'clock on both those days.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll just do that instead.
So you just come on down late, sleep in, bust a couple online tournaments, mosey on down after lunch, and fire in the Saudi.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, we'll talk about that one next week. Maybe we'll have to have Frank give you some advice. Make sure he finally gets in there for your 10-minute poker tips.
Yeah, man, you gotta get on 10-minute poker tips, buddy.
All right, guys. That's it for us. Thanks a lot. We've got 3 more to go, so make sure you stay tuned. We will talk to you next week, and